What's going on, everybody? It's Q from Retro Q Gaming here, and we're going to look at a longer, interesting video here. Because just this morning, mere moments ago, Yu Suzuki and its studio WiseNet pushed out Kickstarter backer update number 104. Now, this comes on the back of a couple of more recent updates, including one recently that had a brief game delay, which in and of itself isn't a terrible thing. But then after that was one of the announcements of Epic Games Exclusivity, followed again by another update that said they were listening to feedback, weighing into the considerations, the options, etc, etc. But now it seems like we have an answer. I'm going to read out a lot of this Kickstarter update, version 104, as it's called Update on PC Rewards. Now I'm going to skip over the PS4 related stuff because it doesn't really apply here. I'm going to talk about the PC side of it, as well as a couple of minor in-game content, regardless of what version of the game it is. And then once all that's done, I'm going to go back and talk a little bit about it with my opinions and my thoughts on the whole situation. Anyway, let's go with Kickstarter Update 104, Update on PC Version Rewards. Hello everyone. Regarding the recently announced Epic Games Store exclusive, all of us here at WiseNet, Deep Silver and Epic are taking the matter with utmost concern and would like to clarify the circumstances leading to the decision and offer backers options for moving forward. As noted in the updates and survey at launch, we had originally planned for PC distribution through Steam. Taking publishing and sales considerations into account, WiseNet and Deep Silver agreed to our partnership with Epic Games Store on PC version distribution. As a publishing partner, Deep Silver has greatly contributed not only to sales and marketing, but to scaling up the game so there is more Shenmue 3 to begin with. Also, Epic Games has been with us from the start of the project when we adopted Unreal Engine 4 for development and have given us their support throughout the entire development process. In response to backers who have requested Steam keys for the rewards, we discussed offering the keys on the day of release. However, coordination with the sales policies of the involved companies was untenable, and as a result we are not able to make a day one distribution option for Steam keys available. That we are not able to offer Steam keys for Kickstarter rewards at the time of game's release is a great disappointment and inconvenience for those backers who were expecting to receive them. We deeply apologize for the unrest caused by the announcement. So their official response policy is this. The team would like to offer the following: version availability. Option A, PC physical, package disc plus Epic Games Store key. Option B, PC digital, Epic Games Store key. Option C, PS4 physical, package disc. And option D, PS4 digital, PSN voucher code. If selecting either the PC physical or PC digital version, an option to also receive a Steam key 1 year later will be available. Backers must manually select this option in the survey to receive the Steam key. If you had previously selected PC and want to change to PS4 or vice versa, you may do so. And changes to the upcoming surveys and survey implementation. We are currently working on the necessary changes to the backer survey system. We ask for your patience as there will be a short wait while the preparations are made. Once the survey changes have been implemented, there will be an announcement here in the updates with details and notice of the survey response period. Changes to your shipping address may still be made through the backer survey up until shipping begins. Concerning refunds, along with Deep Silver and Epic Games, we have agreed that should the above proposal not be acceptable to backers, refund requests will be honoured. Details concerning the refund request process will be announced in a following update. We ask for your patience until that time. In the case rewards within your reward tier, such as in-game content, have already been created and implemented, a full refund may not be possible. Details of the PC physical version. The PC physical version will be delivered on disc. However, the disc will contain the Epic Games Store installer and not the actual game data. About stretch goals. We have provided an explanation on differences between the stretch goals that were promised during the campaign and the actual elements implemented in the final version. Now I'm going to put in this image here. I might break it into two different parts because it's a very, very narrow image. But moving on, some stretch goals that were reached during the campaign were not able to be implemented. There were also stretch goals not reached that were able to be implemented. Development began in line with the stretch goal content, but with the addition of sales partners during production, we were able to increase our development budget. In order to maximize the game quality under the adjusted budget, game planning was fundamentally altered and ultimately allowed us to incorporate a number of different elements beyond our original expectations. Listed here are the major changes. Campaign stretch goal elements achieved, but not implemented. The character perspective system. Implementation could not be achieved in this game. Campaign stretch goal elements that were achieved and have been changed in some way. The skill tree system was changed to the skill book system to better fit the battling style. And the Baisha area changed to the fortified castle area. Minigames, infiltration event, battle event, investigation and battle event have all been implemented in the fortified castle area. And campaign stretch goal elements that were not achieved but were implemented include several expansions of the Chobu area and Bailu village area, including minigames, betting games, kung fu mastery, part-time jobs, non-stretch goal elements, story improvements. Shenmue 3 begins the day after Shenmue 2 leaves off. The story now includes more cinematic scenes and nostalgic flashbacks to naturally draw new players in and fans back in to the world of Shenmue. A scaled up free roaming environment. Initially, the Guilin area was to be organized into 3 different areas, Bailu, Chobu, and Baisha. But to accommodate major additions and changes to game elements, Baisha became the fortified castle area, and focus shifted to expanding Chobu. We have in effect been able to achieve a scale greater than that of Shenmue 2, and bring the fun of an open world to life. To better experience quests and events, NPCs and things to interact with, in the cities have been multiplied beyond what was originally envisioned, making for a more complete Shenmue experience. Powered up battle system. With the inclusion of the skill book system and the dojo system, you can train or have matches anytime you want for deeper, more immersive play. Battle difficulty can be changed in-game to be more enjoyable for beginners all the way to experts. Game cycle improvements. Story progression, skill acquisition, training, mini-games, jobs and other elements that were independent from each other in previous games have been worked to flow into a singular game cycle. And finally, a message from Yu Suzuki. I first want to thank all of you for your enduring support from the bottom of my heart. This announcement was made in coordination of all our partners. As such, it was not presented in a timely fashion, which I apologize for. We have at last been able to report the results of the project team's review of the Epic Games Store exclusive distribution deal. The project team is currently concentrating on finishing up to release the game. We are working hard to deliver a game better than hoped, even if by a little for the announced release date. Along with the significant project changes at the heart of this announcement, there have been many other changes since our original assumptions. I believe, however, that the game overall has been strengthened and that Shenmue 3 has assuredly been transformed and is heading in a positive direction. Thank you always for your support. Now that all of that is over, let's go back and quickly read over, or quickly give my thoughts and opinions on the whole situation here. Really, there's only 1 or 2 things I want to talk about here. Now, the first is the big important one, because it's the big one that everyone has seemed cared about, myself included. And that is the whole thing with the switch of the Epic Games Store exclusivity deal. Many people, myself included, were very unhappy with this. Now, you had people out there defending this whole situation and defending what Deep Silver, what Yu Suzuki, Wise.net, Epic Games, whoever is involved, they're essentially all as guilty as each other, basically. They were defending this. They were saying, oh, they had never promised Steam up until recently. They literally just said it in this backer update that when it was announced, the original plan was always Steam. When the survey update specifically changed the list of platform, it was Steam. It was obviously always Steam. Anyone who says that and defends it otherwise is just defending it for fanboyism's sake. And I say that as someone who, any of you guys watching this video probably know how deep and endeared into Shenmue I am. The community, the Save Shenmue HD, the Shenmue 3, the fact that I even backed the Kickstarter tells you all of that. And another little bit when it comes to the PC version, specifically the PC physical version that a lot of people aren't going to be happy about, is the fact that it comes with a disc that basically has nothing on it. A lot of people were going to hopefully get this under the assumption that the game data would be on the disc, because essentially all this is a glorified installer disc, not for the game, but for the Epic Games launcher. At that point, you don't really have the game you bought on a disc. You don't feel like it. I realize that some people just want a disc to display or a box to display. But in a previous update, it was announced that the physical version would only have a download code. What's the difference between getting a physical version with a download code only, or a physical version with a game disc that only has the Epic Games Store launcher and not the game itself on there, as well as a download code. Now going on to something that's very, very important here. Originally, when the backlash first kicked up, Deep Silver and everyone involved, their first initial reaction was just to say, no refunds, no refunds, no refunds, tough shit. But now with this update, refunds will be offered at a later date. It is kind of bullshit in my opinion that they are not releasing Steam keys for backers on day one. After all, this is something that the same publisher, Deep Silver, managed to do for Metro Exodus with seemingly no problems. And don't worry, everyone's probably wondering, Q, what are you going to do with this? I'm going to get to that at the end of this video. There's one more thing I want to talk about before we go into that. And that's the stretch goals and how they were handled. From everything listed in this, it seems that pretty much every stretch goal, both promised and not promised, or reached and unreached, is pretty much implemented in the game. There is one of these that is not implemented in the game despite it being reached, and that was the character perspective system, which we don't really have the full details on, but it couldn't be implemented. Some of them had just had their name changed, like for example the Baisha Village expanded system in multiple different parts with battle events, quests, infiltration missions, minigames, etc. That's going to be changed to the fortified castle area, but all those promised features are going to be incorporated into the new area. The skill tree system is changed to the skill book system, but everything else has been implemented, including some stuff that wasn't even reached, like expanding all the Chobu and Bailu regions. And just from the extra funding from whoever it was, be it Deep Silver or Sony or Epic Games or whatever it was, there's obviously story improvements, scaled up free roaming environment experience, powered up battle system and game cycle improvements, which is all very promising in the long run. Now, here we are at the end of the video, and everyone is wondering, Q, what are you doing? With all this new information and all this new stuff that is offered to you, what's the deal? Well, I recently, just the other day, said how upset with the whole situation I was, and the fact that even there was a new announced limited edition Shenmue 3, and as someone who is such a big fan of collector's editions and a big fan of the game and the series, Yu Suzuki, Ryo Hazuki, everyone, the fact that this whole situation made me feel so betrayed and so let down that for someone like me to not want that collector's edition because of all this speaks volumes. So it's with absolute crushing dismay and almost defeat and disappointment, dejection, any other negative word that starts with D so I can alliterate it that you can think of goes in there too. I will be requesting a refund for Shenmue 3. I will be cancelling my physical PC version backer update or backer pledge, and I will be requesting a refund. I plan on buying Shenmue a year from now or a year from November when it launches on Steam. I've waited 16 years to find out what happens to Ryo Hazuki and Shenhua after that cave, so what's one more year?